Hello everyone, welcome back to the Mike Tutor channel. Or welcome if you're new here. I'm Mike Tutor, and this video is part of the CantoPanda supplementary learning series where we are going to make learning Cantonese fun and easy, as well as helping you to memorize these vocabularies and phrases that will of course help you in your Cantonese learning journey. And of course, if you have not done so, you should also check out the CantoPanda web app, in which the link to that web app is found in the video description below. Now, today in our video, we are going to go over a list of vocabulary that is tied to common polite expressions, which goes hand in hand with one of the lessons in our CantoPanda web app. And in this case, we are going over the jutping, pronunciation, as well as going over some tips that you won't find anywhere else. So now, let's grab a notebook and let's get started. Our very first word is the super powerful word 請, 請, which means please, but it is used a bit differently. So usually you would often put it at the beginning of a request to make it instantly polite. So for example, you may already know from the last video, which is 請問 from last time, which is please may I ask. Literally, 請 means please in this case. Now, you can also say 請俾我 or please give it to me, etc. So of course, 請 is a very, very useful word to know, but oftentimes you may not see it said individually in isolation. So when you say something like in English like please, you may oftentimes not hear the word 請 in equivalent in Cantonese. And the reason for that is not because it doesn't make sense, people will actually know, but it's more like it's a very old-fashioned way. But even if you say 請, people will understand that you would say please in Cantonese. So now let us see the word 請 attached to specific actions. Now, two very common ones that you will hear are 請等 or 請等等, which means please wait. However, this is actually very uncommon to say. Now in Cantonese, we usually actually say 請等一陣 or 請等一等. So if you're on the phone and someone asks for your boss, you can actually say 請等一陣 or please wait a moment. Now the other one is a more very common one that you would see is 請坐, 請坐, which meaning please sit. So when you show a guest to their chair, you simply say 請坐. And this is actually much more polite than just saying sit or 坐. I mean, this actually, like, sometimes you would actually see it informally. People would just say, oh, 坐啦, 坐啦. But if more formal, more polite, you would say 請坐. 請坐. Now, if you look at some very old TV series, sometimes when you tell people to sit, you would see some old-fashioned shows. They would just say please or 請 and then just point to the chair. However, though, nowadays it's less commonly that you would see that happening. Now let's move on to talk about the word sorry. Now in Cantonese, there are two main ways to say sorry. And the first is 對唔住. 對唔住. Now this is your go-to sorry. So if you bump into someone on the MTR, you would say 對唔住. And if you're late, you could tell your boss 對唔住. Now the second phrase though, which is 我唔好意思, 唔好意思. Now this is less for accidents and more for polite apologies or expressing sympathy. So if you have to interrupt someone or if a colleague tells you some bad news, you can say 我唔好意思,我唔好意思, or just say 唔好意思 works as well. Now, what do you say when someone thanks you? Well, in this case, you would say 唔使客氣,唔使客氣, in which it literally means no need to be so polite or don't mention it. And this is the perfect natural response to 多謝 or 唔該. So now let's do a quick recap of 請問. So remember, this is your best friend for getting a stranger's attention politely before you ask a question. So for example, you could say 請問, and then you say blah 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 blah. 喺邊度?請問 blah 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 喺邊度? So for example, if you want to say MTR station, in which in Cantonese is called 地鐵站, then you would say 請問地鐵站喺邊度? And that's it. You just went over some of the most important phrases for common polite expressions. Now, of course, the best way to practice these is to use them. And that is where the CantoPanda web app comes in. In there, you can find the flashcards and quizzes for all these words to really lock them into your memory. And of course, the link is in the video description below. And of course, don't forget to join our Discord community to join the like-minded individuals that could help you in your Cantonese learning journey. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more Cantonese lessons. Thanks for watching and 再見.